Chelsea manager Mauricio Pochettino dubbed yesterday's performance the worst performance of Chelsea, or that Chelsea have had all season, and it's hard to argue. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan, and it is the fallout. Chelsea, of course, lost 4-1 to Newcastle in the Premier League yesterday, and if you'd watched my complete breakdown, which I recommend you doing so, you'll know that I think it was a performance that recurred around the theme of immaturity. Very, very poor from Chelsea. We've had a very angry response from the manager, Pochettino, which we are going to reflect on today. We've had apologies from our captain, Reece James, on social media for his red card. We had apologies from our most senior and, supposedly mature player in Thiago Silva for his performance. Well, to be honest, he is our most mature performer, especially coming out with his words. We're going to get into that in a moment. Stick with me, we're going to do the post-mortem, we're going to talk about where we go from here, and is this actually something to be worried about? Chelsea, transitional FC. Well, we'll be covering it here on Football Therapy for forevermore until I'm in the ground or the air or however I will go. So thank you for liking and subscribing. I do appreciate all your continued support for the content. We're going to talk about this today. Let's talk about Reece James. Let's just get the apologies out of the way because it's interesting. I want to hear what these men have to say after what was just a catastrophic performance. I watched the match of the day. I don't know why I put myself through that, but yes. And you know what? I was like, oh, God, what sheer gloat about their Newcastle win. But he was right to highlight Trippier versus Reece James in terms of two quality players that need to be showing leadership, and just Reece didn't, God, that second foul for his red was just so dumb. He knows he's doing it. He's like, I'm getting sent off. You know what I mean? He's literally pulling him like, this is my second yellow, and off I go. What are you doing, mate? Reece says this on Instagram: I take full responsibility for my red card today. 2 silly mistakes, another lesson for me to learn. I'd like to apologise to the fans and my teammates. The performance today was far below our standards, but this game does not define us. We've made big improvements this season against many top teams, and we will be back. Yes, there have been improvements against top teams, and Chelsea were flat-track bullies last season. We couldn't beat good teams. We weren't a good side. We can beat good teams now. We can perform against good teams. But it's like the stars aligning. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, you're good players and you can play well together and you can play well against good teams if conditions are perfect in terms of all these things aligning. And that's not good enough. And the main frustration thing is just the mentality of these young players. And we're going to speak about Pochettino's response, but also Thiago Silva speaking about maturity in young players. Of course, not a performance you'd expect from Thiago Silva. He said this: I'm devastated. It wasn't a good day for us. I would like to apologise to everyone for the defeat, especially to my teammates who believe in me and support me every day. I take full responsibility. Let's gather strength and come back stronger. Now, I like that. He's a very emotionally charged person, Thiago Silva. You can tell he really loves Chelsea, and it hurts. It hurts when he loses, and I value that. For this from Thiago Silva. What a cult hero he is. Sadly, the point of his career he joined, and ultimately the tenure of his Chelsea, he won't be like a legend, but he will be a cult hero. Do you know what I mean? Like, absolutely incredible player. Even if we just signed him when he was like in his early 30s, like 30, which is, seems like an old age to sign a player. Like, we know he signed Zola when he was 30, but, this day and age, if you sign a 30-year-old, it's like, what are you doing? You're crazy. But, if we signed Thiago Silva when he was 30, we would have had him for 9 years, and then he would have been a legend. Yeah, incredible, really. Now, before I read and go into what Pochettino says, these guys are like, look, we're going to be back stronger. This game doesn't define us. But what does define us? What are we? We're a team in transition that are just wildly inconsistent, and I was so hoping that this game would prove the inconsistent theory to be a false one. But I was worried. I was like, oh, it's after the international break, But it was such a needless, I don't know. Sterling got booked for kicking the ball away as well. You're our senior guy up front. When you've got Cole Palmer, 21-year-old Cole Palmer, who's already played more senior minutes in the league for Chelsea than he has for Man City, looks like our most settled and grown up forwards. And I wonder if that's just because he's played for Guardiola and they know you can't F about. You just got to be like a super, super professional. That's it, isn't it? We just don't look professional. That's kind of it. It's immaturity and lack of professionalism. That's kind of what it feels like. A lot of it, you go, okay, Nico Jackson's new and he's confident, but he behaves like a kid sometimes. And it's wild that the youngest one of the lot in Cole Palmer is the one that's not behaving like a child. Sterling, good. He's taking, he's probably our best performer yesterday, which maybe isn't saying much. But, he's trying to win everything for Chelsea. He is really putting a shift in, and he often doesn't let the crowd get to him if he becomes the villain or if he gets tackled, or he's professional in that sense of like continuing his game. He doesn't take his foot off the gas. Great, and I do really value that from Sterling. But he just literally absorbed the petulance and immaturity from the rest of the team, kicking that ball away, getting yellow. Like, why are you all just sinking into it? Chelsea of old just wouldn't have done this. And I know we're not Chelsea of old, and it's pointless to hark back to those days, and, we are a young team. But it's wildly inconsistent. And look, maybe it's because it's after an international break. I do think there's a large contributing factor. And once we've settled again, we'll look good again. And then people will be like, oh, Chelsea had a good game again. How do we don't know how to feel about them. And I do actually think in this instance, a large contributing factor was probably but the thing is, other teams had international breaks. Arsenal did. They scored a late last-minute winner from Kai Havertz, of all people. People acting like Chelsea fans are like, oh, it's ruined my weekend. He's still a footballer, and this is his first open play goal of the season. Do you know what I mean? It's not like he scored his 30th goal and he's been elite. You don't have to be like, oh, that reflects bad on Chelsea. Kai Havertz has always been a talented footballer and had been capable of these moments. He's, yes, he scored that winner for Arsenal. Actually goes to show you as well, but if Kai Havertz was in this Chelsea team yesterday, he would have just been part of the he would have got a yellow card, maybe even a red card. He would have been kicking players. He would have been joining in the petulance because he just did that with the rest of the Chelsea children. Anyway, I'm digressing here. Point being, what I was trying to get to here is, I think a large contributing factor is that Pochettino wasn't on the touchline, because I know it shouldn't have to be like this, but there is a large element of the teacher making the children behave, which is wild, bro. But it literally, that's what it is. It's like, he's when he took Levi Cole off against Tottenham, and, Levi Cole comes on and immediately gets booked. I feel like no one's there to control the children, and that reflects really badly upon your, elite football team that costs hundreds of millions to put together, but you need a freaking nanny to look after them. Jeez. That will change, obviously, over time. They will just quite literally grow up, metaphorically and literally. They will grow up. That will trend in one direction, and the ones that won't last. Nizar Kinsella writes, Pochettino says the 4-1 defeat away to Newcastle was, quote, the worst performance of the season. The Argentine fumed at a calamitous second half display, and it was the second half, really, wasn't it? Saying he was very, very angry because his team lacked competitiveness. Newcastle won comfortably despite having 13 players out and 3 goalkeepers on the bench. Ugh. After the match, Pochettino raged at his players, having watched on from the director's box. Yeah, he was next to Stewart, I believe, and I think Bedad Iqbali was nearby. He said, disappointed with our performance. It was our worst game of the season. It's about to blame ourselves. It was very easy the way we conceded. Yeah, true. Every freaking goal. Maybe apart from the Gordon goal for the 4th. All of them were soft. We were soft in every single challenge. We should have shown we were playing for something important. I kind of like this from Poch. The gloves are off. He's saying, look, you're a bunch of wusses and I'm done with you. You need to do better sometimes, You need to let them know. You can't always be like, yeah, we're working towards something, young player. The process is new. No, you are a bunch of soft so-and-sos. That's what made me angry and disappointed. We need to learn, even if we talk about being a young team, these types of games make me very, 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 very angry because they're about showing more personality and character. Okay, we are young, but we cannot miss this type of opportunity to show our best. We cannot come from Tottenham, Man City, where around the world people praise Chelsea, and then we stop one step before and don't make the effort in the right moment. We need to be more solid in this area. All areas, I'd argue. It's about showing more strength in our mental game and being ready to compete. This is not the same as simply playing football. I can play football, you can play football, but to compete, I want to be ready to compete, but today, we didn't. Of course, the defeat was sparked out of that mad 90 seconds where Jamal Lascelles strolled into the box scoring, and then Thiago Silva just gave them another goal. Anthony Gordon, of course, towards the end scored the goal to make it 4. He refused to blame Silva for his error, but criticised Reece James for his red card after he pulled back Gordon on the break. He said this, quote, "Disappointed. Look, this type of thing happens in football. Of course, disappointed. But of course, we should finish with a player on the pitch. But it happens, and we need to accept it." Pochettino also apportioned blame on himself and his coaching staff, saying, look, big teams, it's everyone's fault. We play every 3 days, and it's a team thing and not just the players. Fine, true. Well, yeah, actually, yeah, true, because I have belief in Pochettino. I believe he's the right man for the job right now. But you can bet your bottom dollar that this kind of stuff doesn't happen for a Pochettino team. I do worry because Pochettino's Tottenham were very petulant and immature, and Pochettino's been mindful to bring this up and like, yeah, we don't have this anymore. Like, you know, that was a different time and in my coaching career, and you won't have that at Chelsea. I think he's like mentioned and cited, you know, the Battle of the Bridge and how the Tottenham players all lost their heads. I do worry that, you know, is he going to be able to control what is a bunch of hot-headed kids at the moment? Look, I've got no issue with Reece James being captain. I did raise an eyebrow. I do like think in terms of like being like eloquent and erudite with how you talk about Chelsea and how you like look after players like with a good arm around them. I thought Chilwell is a really great shout for a captain. I don't think he should be Chelsea captain because he was bought from, you know, Leicester, and maybe if Chilwell has been with us for a couple more years, won some more trophies, and Reece James wasn't here, then Chilwell would become Chelsea captain. I think he'd be a great shout. Of course, he's vice captain. But Reece James, he has got this about him. He can be a bit hot-headed. He's not a politician of sorts, which you need a little bit of. Like, he's like John Terry always knew how to talk about Chelsea, and when something happened in the media, he'd speak on behalf of Chelsea. You know, like offer like congratulations or condolences, and he was very clever like that. JT, you're not going to get any of that from Reece James. He's a quiet kid. I do wonder, and you know, and everyone said to me like, you know, well, don't worry, Jan, because Reece James leads by example. He's a captain on the pitch. That's what, you know, you get from a captain. And okay, and then obviously what happened yesterday just laughs in the face of that. Now that he is still young, how old is Reece James? 24. Like, to me, that's still young. It's a decade younger than me. He will hopefully learn from it, and we'll look at this game and think that, okay, no Pochettino on the sideline after international break, just silliness. And where do we go from here? Oh, okay, it's really, really tough. I do think that Nkunku's going to come back. That will feel good, won't it? Pochettino himself says he hates being in the stand and he won't let that happen to him again. He's like, nah, we're not having any more of that. He's not going to let himself get a yellow card, so he can always be there to take control when it's going off the rails like that. And Reece James will learn, everyone will learning. Anyway, I'm a bit more calm after yesterday, so I wanted to talk about it like this and put out to you guys, what do you think? What do you think of the reaction, the fallout? Do you think it's just one of those games? It seems like we have a lot of one of those games. Again, this whole season's a transitional season. I'm reading stuff on social media about how Chelsea need to get into Champions League football. I'm not sure how true that is, but if it is part of their model, qualifying for the Champions League, lol. Still, that's not for us to worry about. For us to worry about is just our club winning again, and, you know, matches come back around, and Nkunku will be coming back, Lavia will be coming back, Chukwuemeka will be coming back, Pochettino will be on the sidelines, Chilwell will come back, and we'll go from there. We're going to be okay. I know it sucks, but it's just where we are at the moment. So try and enjoy yourselves. Try and look at the positives of what are there. And thank you for supporting the channel. And I'll see you guys very soon, hopefully. Keep it locked. Peace.